Yes, going like good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Otumba Olabode Oseni, talk show host on Otumba Who Latest TV. Tonight, I just want to visit the polity. I just want to see what is going on. I, as a retiree, I do my things at my own time, but in most cases, to please to make my viewers to be very happy. I come to them sometimes unannounced. That does not mean that being disrespectful or anything. No, no, no. It's not like how you know how things are when you want to do your own thing. I'm sure we all want to do our own thing the way we want to do it, especially when you're not tied to any constraint, when you are not under any serious obligations. So you just want to make sure you're happy with yourself and with everybody around you. So as usual, my regular contributor is well known to you. You must have seen him many times, and is someone I rely so much on his judgment. I also learn a lot from him, and he has convinced me that he's highly loaded, highly intelligent. He knows his onions. And by so doing, I feel very proud because at the end of the day, whatever message, whatever information I rolled out to you, it must be a high quality information, verified, sound information, information you can take to the market, you can take anywhere and say, you know what, I had this from this person and it's genuine, well nuanced information. Without further ado, let me bring in my guest. So, yeah, here he is. Good evening, Segun Daniel. You need to change your. Yeah, you are using my name. Oh. You need to. You need to change your name. You are putting Otumba who
You
as your
did
name.
that.
You need to edit your name.
You did that.
Yeah.
You did that.
Oh, did I? Oh, did I have to edit it then?
Yes.
Don't worry. This is
It must have been an error from your side.
okay. Edit name. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I can see that. Okay. Um,
I'm not October yet.
don't worry, you is
Anyway, you've already started blessing me with the shiftancy title.
so yeah, right. We got it right. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers all over the world, again, my name is Otumbola Bodosin, and here you are. You see Segun Daniel, and you don't want to go to any family tree, any background, anything. It's just the guy that has most of the information you need. And do me a favor, please, for those of you who have logged in, the system is once I click on YouTube, is such an informant. It goes all over the world and says, "Baba yẹn ti jáde o." Log on. So if you log on now, just be kind enough to share this program, share with friends and family, like it, love it, and click on the notification button to let us know that you are liking what we are doing,
And subscribe as well.
and subscribe. And again, many a time I've said this. I This is a show at my own expense. I am very happy to be on seat to share my opinion directly or indirectly with you, and also give you the access to information you may necessarily need to know. Tonight, I'm going to be working on updating all what is going on globally, because here is a guy, he's a global analyst. In fact, we should have added that, but it doesn't matter. He's a global analyst. He's well equipped with informations all over the world. So we're going to start with where do you start with? Do you start with America or Europe? You start. I mean, both of you and I. I mean, you and I were in Europe. Let's start with America. Then we come to Europe. Is not very far from Nigeria. So when
Okay.
we get to when we leave Europe, then we come to
To our
when we come
home,
to Europe, then we go to
to our home, Niger,
yes.
Niger.
Segun, the later is ongoing. I start seeing what's wrong with uh, the uh, the contestant of House of Rep who did not win the election. Is he behaving adequately or what? That's George Jordan. Is he behaving adequately? Because I start seeing him all over the place, flashing his picture, making face. Is he not happy with the election of uh, Michael Johnson? What is his name?
Yes, Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is no matter how much he wants to appear to the public or to deceive of what has happened, there's been an elected leader in the position of a Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United States, which is the Congress. And that put the paid to all the trouble that been on in the House and will facilitate the passage of bills to enhance the continuation of governance and as well as passing the bills necessary for appropriate governance, particularly appropriation. Because you recall that in the lockdown prior to emergence, there had been fear about defunding the federal government, in which case there is going to be a shutdown of the federal government without the Congress passing the necessary bill to fund the federal government. Because particularly from the side of the Republicans, who are in the majority in the House, and if they voted against whatever funding spending that the Biden administration is making proposal for, definitely it makes the government to run aground until a possible negotiation and good outcome or whatever outcome to come about in the spending. The position the Republicans have held so far had been to trade, to have a bargain between funding of Ukraine. Ukraine has become like a pawn on the negotiation table. That they want to make sure American government reduces or outrightly stop funding the war in Ukraine. And then, in another vein, they want to increase their spending for Israel. So the government has to choose. The conservative Republicans are saying, we're not interested in the war in the Ukraine. We rather put our money to the Jewish. And prior to now, the Jewish state issue has not arisen. I mean, it's a recent development. Consistently, the American government have funded the war in Ukraine. But now there is a turnaround because influence of Trump in the Republican Party is very strong. And we all know that for some reason, either truly or not true, the Democratic Party have labeled, or the machinery of the politics have labeled Trump as being an accomplice, a friend, a good pal of President Vladimir Putin. That is, he has sympathy for Russia, and so he's likely not supporting the war in Ukraine. Yeah. So if that is the tone of the Republican Party, which is facilitated by the interest of Trump, then that is really a big issue with the Biden administration, because we all know that they are the majority in the House of Representatives, and it is the Congress that is empowered to fund the federal government of the United States.
Very interesting. Well, because of many items we want to treat tonight, let's move rapidly to some other area.
Oh, I
Uh,
thought we had wanted to talk about the chances of Trump himself and
yeah, I'm going to
the
that. I mean,
debate of many legal issues that is
yes,
surrounding his neck.
I also wanted to, yeah, I also want to talk about Trump. Why is Trump going from pillar to post? What exactly are his problems? How do you think he's going to get out of these problems? Especially when it's still fresh in our memory, the 2021 January 6th, in Brogilo, in the house of the most revered house in America, that someone is clapping his hand and say, "Go get them out! Go get them out!" As a legal, as a legal expert, do you think? I know I'm not too sure whether how conversant are you with laws in America, but
Yeah.
one thing that is clear to everybody is that uh, if he wins to become the next president of America, despite all the list of his litigations and all the list of his problem with the cost, uh, I mean, courts in America, he may still likely be able to govern. Just give us a back, I mean, an idea of how does that can happen and how can that be stopped?
Okay. Um, well, it's not a candidate now. I would say aspirant Donald Trump,
Hmm.
as of today, has been a very interesting person or interesting former president. And even if he emerges as a candidate, he will be an interesting candidate for the Republican Party. Be that prior to now, in the history of America, rather probably, I'm not sure if there is anyone prior to his even becoming the president. He is someone who has in hundreds litigations in court. He is familiar with litigation
Mhm.
in court.
So,
He has always
are you saying his other name? His other name is Donald
Donald
Litigation.
Trump. He is someone who regularly have issues to contend with in court, either him suing someone or several other litigation against him. So it's no new to that. But the recent um, administration that he governed, as well as the subsequent actions he has taken, and particularly his business apparatus, had come under scrutiny, which has brought several other litigations against him as well. Those litigations are very, very, very hefty. And I must say here that I have not practiced in the United States. So I wouldn't say I'm not conversant, but I'm not deeply conversant with the American laws. But to the best of my knowledge that I have researched and all that, to update myself, I can make certain comments.
Okay.
Um, the likelihood is former President Donald Trump will be found guilty of some of the uh, suits that is prescribed against him. And to a very large extent, the one that is in fact very, very crucial is the case of the insurrection against the Congress, against the government of the
That's
United
the
States.
January
Yes.
6th.
Yes. Given that many people who participated in that insurrection have already been found guilty and prescribed certain uh, custodian punishments. That is a pointer to the fact that there is every likelihood that if it is established that former President Donald Trump was indeed active participant in that insurrection, he is likely facing a jail term.
Oh my
So
God.
be
The
be
former
that as
president.
it may, be that as it may, and all other legal issues surrounding him, even if he has to lose all of them. If he loses at court, and some of it will carry fine because some of it are concerning about businesses and all that, which is, he might be just final custodial sentence. And those that will be of custodial centers will now bring us to a new level. That in spite of all these litigations, it does not with the way American system is. And this is where we have to separate. And usually I like people, this is what I preach to those who are learned as well as those who are not, that the law is not about emotions. It's not about feelings. It's not about your public opinion, ideas, whether right or wrong, moral. No. As of today, there is no statute in United States laws that barred former President Trump, even if found guilty and jailed, not to become president of the United States if he is listed as a candidate of the Republican Party and he went ahead with the election and he won. So this idea that other country might say, oh, a prisoner or a criminal or whatever, how come, how this, how that? Well, maybe we have some example in Nigeria as well. I know of one man, former Senator Yola Omishore. He contested the election in Nigeria as a senator, right from prison, and he won, and he was sworn in. So it's not.
I have an international call here.
Okay, good. Let's bring in our viewer.
Hello, Honorable Adedino. I'm on a live show. Is it possible to call you when I finish?
If you'd like to join,
Yeah, you can also join. We'll be talking about you, and then if you'd like to join, I can send you a link. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you very much.
So
thank you, and that's still the challenger in the Lagos State gubernatorial election. So
okay.
it's a challenger, right?
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? If I say that, what does that say to our viewers? Is it because the case is still what? Can you help me explain?
You mean the honorable that called?
Yes, it's one of the
the contender. Since the matter is still in the purview of the appeal court,
okay,
appeal tribunal, it will be sub judice for us to make comments on it. For now.
That's true. I want to get that clear. Okay, yeah. So
like where I stopped. So Donald Trump stand a chance if the American people find him credible and they voted him, if he stands a candidate of the Republican Party and they find him credible to vote for him again, and then he becomes or is voted as American president. There is nothing in the statute book that can stop him, if that happens, from being sworn in as the American president. And knowing his antecedents, it's likely going to pardon himself of all the offenses
and I think he said that
committed. So that's the peculiar way to the American system. And that's why I said, for any onlooker, they might say, oh, this is immoral, this is that, this is... As long as there are no rules or regulations or guidance or laws or statute that forbid that, he has not done anything wrong. So we need to put that in proper perspective. If that happens, and if pardon himself and all that, he has not done anything wrong. So that's the only problem that I envisage that is likely going to be a major problem for him. Well, regarding whether he wins the election and he got sworn, it can be a major problem. Two issues that could send him to jail. One of them is that the case in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as the insurrection case. So that's the only two cogent one that I know. Because at that as well, even the Georgia case, I think it might be difficult for him because he's being tried under the state law. It might be difficult for him to pardon himself out of that. So that is a conundrum. there could be a likelihood of constitutional issues around there. Get it? Because it's a state law under which he's being tried, and the state has its own Supreme Court. So that can be an issue for him. That's the only one but it will not be unusual for us. Maybe I don't know of any country that have succeeded putting a current prisoner in jail that just suddenly becomes the
Well,
president. Well, maybe in the case of Nigeria too, but Obasanjo was pardoned first. He was taken out of the prison. He was pardoned before he contested. But we are talking a scenario here where somebody will be in jail, not having gotten the pardon, but contest the election right from jail, becomes the president, and now pardon himself. So the scenario is still unfolding anyway. So let's see. But like I said, in the case of Nigeria, we have seen something similar to that.
yes, we have to wait
A
and see.
novel case of Senator Yola Omisori. So
Well, let's move on quickly to Europe. I'm constrained to continue to talk about Ukraine war, and
yeah,
also suddenly added to that is the Middle East debacle of
yeah,
Hamas. Hamas,
Israeli
what
war.
you what Yoruba people will say for working banla.
Then
Use a small hand to
to take the bigger slap.
yeah to get it bigger, and then yeah. Now it looks like the whole place is being run down now. A similar situation is Ukraine. But let's quickly uh, talk about Ukraine for a minute or two.
Okay.
Do you think the war will ever come to an end, whether with or without Putin? Because even
In
though there is
fact, there is a rumor.
there is a rumor whether it has to be seen as disinformation or misinformation or whatever it is. I remember those words when I was in university. Like, your opponent can start calling you, say they've killed you, they've done this, but that's yeah. Well, do you think the war in Ukraine will ever come to an end? And if it does, do you think Russia, with or without Putin, will agree to Ukraine joining NATO? Can you just break down to our viewers?
To the best of my knowledge, Ukraine's membership of NATO is an existential threat to Russia. And in that vein, I do not think or believe that any Russian leader will allow that to happen. There could be, if all else become reasonable and try to seek for peace, there could be a way out to peace. But one of it, as the way I see it, will not be a membership of NATO. The way we can reconsider that position,
Mm.
if for the sake of peace, yes. Because the elephant in the house is actually that condition that Ukraine is aspiring to get into NATO. Be that as it may, I actually have asked, what's the price of peace? And I believe that the price of peace is cheaper than the price of the war.
Mm.
What we have invested in the war is too colossal, and we could have achieved peace in less than 1,000th of the investment in that war. It's difficult how sometimes man can make decisions, and I've seen some people even blaming God for such. Why do God allow this war to happen? Why the ravaging of the city? Why killing of children? Why killing of women? Why so much destruction? The truth is, these are decisions made by men, and it's still within the capabilities of men not to take such decisions or to reverse themselves. But for some reason, we will do them. Some quarters will raise condemnation. Some quarters will hold to their gun. Some quarters will put it in the courtyard of God and started blaming God and started blaming his inaction or his action or whatever, try to explain it away. When it is we human, if we become very reasonable and become very understanding of the situation, we can all resolve it. Today, I don't see why we need to let, and the question you asked, let me quickly point it out quickly, anyway, that I think that the Russian position will be a protracted conflict in Ukraine, a protracted war in Ukraine, not seeking to end it, because as long as Ukraine is a conflict zone, is a war zone, cannot be a member of NATO. So we need to be reasonable about that. That it might not be the ending the war that is in the interest of the West. Our press has talked about. At one point, they said, we don't know what is on Putin's mind. At another point, you see them trying to give you a narrative of what they feel is on Putin's mind. That Putin wants to take Kiev. He wants to institute a Stooge government. They're explaining away things aforementioned they said. We do not know what he wanted to do. That's a contradiction. Where do you want to stick to? Is it that you can predict his mind? When they start that narrative of not predicting his mind, they talked about so many experts who cannot tell what he wants. They talked about meetings he shares that he dismisses people, how it's ruling authoritarianism and all that, confirming that we cannot tell exactly what he wants. But they, in a quick sweep, he begin to say, oh, this is what he wanted to do. This is what he will do. This is what he will do. This is what is. It's ironic. It's either we're being misfed with unsubstantiated facts as information, or there's somebody is just playing a street for us. So, to me, if all senses will come to reasonableness, there's nothing. Even when you're at war, you can dialogue with your enemy. That's the only way where you can resolve matter. If hands are down and said, let's talk. Let's know what we need to concede, and let's know what we need to achieve. But the way this war is pursued is such that somebody is trying to look for a upper hand before coming to the table to dialogue, where we will have equipped Ukraine, entrenched it with so much weaponry and all that, and he has battered the southern part of the country, trying to recover Luhansk, trying to recover all the regions that are in possession of the Russian Federation.
Crimea,
Then we can say,
Crimea,
yes, and Crimea and all that. Then they want to say at that time, what if that never happened? Because we think once our hand is strengthened is when we can negotiate. Let's negotiate in true faith that we reasonably, justfully, and sincerely wanted peace. And it's annoying to my senses how the leadership in Ukraine itself has allowed itself to be used for this. It's a different ball game if there is a war you wanted to pursue in a neutral ground. Somebody is coming to your homeland and said that's where you wanted to fight. You will end up destroying everything, whether it end up as a stalemate. He will go back to his own country and everything is working and intact. And he has left you with massive destruction at your place. All other people who are supporting and strengthening you have their own homeland in their own country in proper development. Every one of them is shielded away from any attack or any action against them. But they are using the soil, the ground, the land of Ukraine to pursue this. And you're not seeing it at the end of the day. It is me that will have to count the body bags. It's me that have to count how many industries and infrastructures that were destroyed. It's me that have to make complaints how many children and women and all that are killed. That should have been a reasonable thing to consider before pursuing this action. Yes. And unfortunately, major powers as in support of this. I hope reasonable, because the left to Ukraine, it's not likely that they will have the thought to this action of waging war. It is because they are prop. That is, to me, what gave confidence to it. It's because they are prop by the support they will get from EU, from
And from
other
America and some
superpowers,
other
United States,
war
yes,
warmonger countries.
that
Now,
that is
well,
propping.
thank you,
So
Daniel. Thank you very
yeah.
much. Because of time, we need to cut. We need to do
So
more.
my appeal anyway, quickly, my appeal is let us in the West have everything. Even if Russia is not, by our own actions, we can make them come to the table and have a finality in terms of seeking peace over this war. Yeah.
Hamas and Israel. We all know what is going on. There's war ravaging. Uh, Either one is about to annihilate one, uh, to remove. The only thing, but I don't think at the end of the day, the map of the area of Gaza, the Hamas, and the other part of Palestine and area of Israel, you nobody will be able to wipe. You cannot wipe that out of the map of the world. Where the only thing that can be seen there might be that some structures have been now leveled to a playing ground where people can just now, do some other things. I am not happy about what is going on, but you all said it. If I look at the amount of the amount of money that being used, that being expended on war, I'm sure half of it could be used in calling both sides to a negotiating table, talking about how peace can be achieved. And it's also sad to know that since the Oslo Accord, nothing has been working ever since. And so, just a quick one again. What do you think? What's the road to peace? What exactly do you think would be the best way? Hopefully, by accident, a program like this gets to places where sometimes you don't even anticipate. It might get to Reuters, it might get
Yeah.
to places where uh, one or two people in the world can benefit from it. What do you want us to suggest to people behind? Because again, like you said, there are Yoruba people say there's noise, something making noise. There's something behind, something that is crying or something. Either somebody is beating somebody. That's why you are hearing the sound. The way things are, what do you think is the best way to achieve peace?
Okay. I think we have experimented enough, and that experiment has given us a result. The only description of that result is disaster. 75 years the nation of Israel has been created. 75 years there has been a continuous bloodbath, bloodletting, bloodshedding in that region. Simply because there was contention, there was a contention by people of Palestinians against the state of Israel. But successive violence action to correct or to 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 reorganize the situation had not been successful. And there have been several wars, inclusive of other nations surrounding Israel, that had come to the aid of Palestinians, which had not been successful. Then, for 75 years, the nation or the people of Palestinians has been masculated. They've been killed, they've been demoted, they've been destroyed, all manners of things. In fact, the whole world acknowledged that there are people living under occupation. That's the word. And the only defense that I have seen from the nation of Palestinians is about their right to the land because of ancestral history. Ancestral history. That is the only thing. And I question to myself that history they are adducing to are made by men who are no different from us. They are descendants of their own ancestors. They are human themselves. They are in the making of history now too. They cannot say because my forefather was buried there, this down there, they created, they built this mosque, they did this, they did that. And for 75 years, somebody continuously killing their offspring, and they said that is the way they want to live. To me, that is not reasonable. That is not. To all purpose and clarity, the nation of Israel, I will give you a very, there was a proposal for a one-state nation, the state of Israel, that will accommodate everybody, the Arabs, the Muslims, the Christians, the Jews, the Zionists, all manners, being equal citizens under one state. The state, the nation of Israel was supposed to be. They do not want that. Then comes the other proposal, two-state solution. The people you do not want, let them have their own separate state, their own separate nation. The nation of Israel accorded to that. That's the Oslo's agreement. They accorded to it, they signed it, but from day one, they were working against it. Day one, they do not want that nation, that state to exist, the state of Palestinian. No. Day one, they do not want it, they emasculate it. They want it to remain as an occupied territory. Yet, they put to paper that we are agreed. That tells you that that won't work. Then we need to think about what exactly can work, or what exactly is motivating the nation of Israel not to make this work. And I feel bold enough to say this, but I feel that the nation of Israel has been timid about saying so, or those who are the government of the nation of Israel have been timid to say so. Maybe by their actions, they meant it, but in words, they have not said it. What the nation of Israel simply wanted, it might sound rude, ridiculous, offensive, and I'm out of adjective, what I'm about to say, particularly to the Arab world, to the Muslim world, and to maybe a large percentage of the Palestinians. But I really want them to reflect on it, to consider it, to look at the future of it, to look at the merit in it, is for them to evacuate that land, Gaza, as well as the West Bank, for the nation of Israel to take possession. That is what Israel wanted. That is what they want to achieve. They've succeeded in crippling and reducing the size of the number of land, the volume of land, the landed area given to the Palestinians. And they're not stopping. They've done it for 25 years. They will still be there for another 100 years. And they will still pursue that policy of removing the Palestinians. Do we want 100 years of another? Do we want 100 years of horrendous killing, mass destruction of the Palestinians? Is that what we want? Continuous killing for another 100 years? Protest today, protest tomorrow, and destruction. Masterminded destruction to recover land gradually from the Palestinians. Or we just simply said, you know what? We do not want to be a people under occupation any longer. And my proposal will be this. Let the friend of Palestinians, who are their Arab neighbors, come in and make a proposal. Already in Jordan, there is almost 2 million Palestinians as refugees. In fact, the Gaza that we're talking about is a refugee camp. Palestinians there are regarded as refugees, even on their own land.
In the first place.
Yes, even on their own land. A massive refugee camp is there.
Okay.
So where they are in refugees outside, and they have lived there for more than 50 years as refugees in Jordan and elsewhere, all scattered across Middle East, in Lebanon. And I'm proposing that if the Arab world, the Arab League, could come together and find a land, a homeland within the territory of the Arab League, devoted to the Palestinians. And the United States, well, wealthy nations, EU, United States, UK, Australia, and all that, China, even Russia, could make it, and United Nations, EU, could make a contribution dedicated for development and building a nation or a state. It might not be a nation or a state. It might just be an autonomous entity within any of the Middle East country for the Palestinians to survive.
Yes,
Yeah, a
yeah,
friendly
and then we can
country
move
that
on. We can move on because the incessant killing of people. I don't know how many people
that's
will have.
what I'm addressing. Because what we have today is, like you said earlier, of Okekere Banla, what we have today is we could snowball. We are talking of tens of thousands of people killed. With what Israel, the nation of Israel wants to pursue, in no days or weeks, we could be started talking of thousands to millions of people killed. And all so far we have had is just condemnation. They will do it with impunity and nothing will happen. The only thing we will get is that condemnation. Then we will start all over again because, well, once they finish, they're happy, then they can say, well, only 10,000 of Palestinians can return to that land. Only 10,000 can return. The
So
rest of it, they will cede to themselves.
okay, right.
Then in a week or two, I mean, months or year, there's going to be another conflict. There's
Okay,
going to be another conflict. So why do we want this perpetual rigmarolling that has taken us to nowhere for 75 years? And it seems we are not focusing on what exactly needs to be done to resolve this in finality, in totality. Let the people there begin to have history of their own, that they can live in a place where they can raise their family and have fulfillment for life. Not a place where they will be afraid of being bombed, being shot, being grenade every day, or being arrested.
yes, I
Yes,
can agree
just
more.
because we want to lay claim to a land.
The
Yes,
land is
it doesn't make sense to me. We are humans who are blessed to live, aspire, and have a good life. It's not
well.
about living the life of our forefathers. It's about living our own.
That's true.
Yes.
I agree. I agree with you, Daniel. Now, we need to leave Ukraine now. I mean, we left Ukraine. We are leaving Hamas, Israeli to continue doing their show because I see it as a show. Uh, People watching this, do us a favor, share, like, subscribe, subscribe, and also click on the notification button. I do appreciate that some people are watching directly from YouTube. I've been getting messages from Facebook that they are watching, etc. But please help us share this show. There are more to now. As I look at my wristwatch now, we have just arrived at Muritala Muhammad Airport. Is it the same airport I grew up to? No, can I say? Did I grow up to find Muritala Muhammad? I can't. How old is Muritala Muhammad Airport? How old is he?
I think it predates the the independence, but it was not named Muritala then. It was Nigeria National Airport.
International. That's right. Okay.
International
It's,
Airport.
it's, it's still the same airport too. Now, wow. Whereas in some when I the last time I went to Dallas, uh, 19 1990. it was like how many airports are there? But today is like many other civilized countries, airports just springing up because it's economy. It's something to do with economy. It's something to do with civilization. It's something to do with communication, transportation, and so on and so forth. But it's not like that in Nigeria. Let me start by uh, saying this program want to congratulate the affirmed the affirmed president of Nigeria, His
That's important.
Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Uh, we want to congratulate him. We also want to wish him, I mean, he has already acceded to the position. We want to wish him all the best. But then again, we have always said that the best he can do, he has nothing to lose, but to try to see that he's fixing the problem, because it will be unfair on him that he did not inherit the problem of 60 something years old. He just inherited a child of 63 years old who is still struggling to stand up. So
Mhm.
he will need to construct. We need to do a lot of work to get things done. Having
Yeah.
said that,
I join you in congratulating Nigerian elected president and his victory at the tribunal. I think that should be enough to put all matters regarding contest or litigation or issues surrounding his presidency to rest. He has won squarely at the ballot, and the judiciary, the court have pronounced same. And so this should, I want to believe that most politicians should play it as sportsmen and accept defeat where it does come, and be gallant at victory. Ashwaju so far have demonstrated magnanimity even in victory, because severally he has called on the opposition to join hand with him. That is only one country we have. We cannot touch it with light and destroy it just because of an election that will even have a tenure of just 4 years. So this, to me, if any reasonable senses, do mean well for Nigeria. Whether you want to govern Nigeria for good or you have so much laudable programs or promises, you should. You have, unless you're not committed to having just one country. If you desire to run the country and the votes had not been in your favor, neither has the court decisions been in your favor, they should eschew all manners of acrimony and come to the table to work with the declared winner. That to me is a part of honor, is a part of patriotism, is a part of dedication. Yeah, because otherwise, it's constituting yourself to an enmity of the state. Because the president is a person, he personified the sovereignty. So, not showing attitude of being cooperative in itself to me is questionable and worrisome. So I want to implore the opposition to think otherwise. The tenure will come to an end. There is always a time for another election. If they do well, unless they are considering maybe it's strategic for them to continue to be on this voyage of discovery for unnecessary destructive issues, so as to pull down the government, and that will enhance their possibility of having any good outcome in the next election. I don't think it is, because Nigeria at this moment needs all hands on deck. If we work all together, and we'll be able to save not just the state of Nigeria, but particularly the problem Nigeria has to do with economy. If we can all fix it and the economy is running well and everybody becomes buoyant and happy, yes, you can then begin to think of the next election. If I win or I will struggle, I will manage and I win and all. Yes, that will be fine. But if we manage to destroy just because we want to prove a point that this president cannot do it, we manage, if we are already on the 40% grade of economic development, and you manage because of your antagonism to bring it down to 15%, it is even more worse a solution for you in tackling that problem, even if you are voted in. Let's say the joint of Obi and Atiku are working against Tinubu to destroy more Nigerian economy. If they are voted in, they have more problem to contend with. Yes, they will have more problem to contend with. But if they join hands with him to build it up to 60-80%, there will be less issues for them to deal with even when they are voted in.
I hope they are watching this program, and I hope
Yes,
somebody is watching
it's
and
not
listening
destroying
to
and
what you are
bringing
saying.
everything down. Yes, that will help their own candidacy or their own election prospects. No, it becomes more problematic. It becomes, and the tenure is so short, 4 years. We have seen government who comes into power as if they are stupid and they lost their sense of leadership. When you contend for a position, I thought you know what you are going to do there. You know the tenure you have. They only come in there and they started telling you this, what brought Nigerian economy, it doesn't start in 10 years. It's going to, as if they needed more time. More time for what? You already know in your contest of the election, it's a 4-year term. You must have articulated the solution to the problem within that framework. So it's ridiculous and irritating for anybody to be canvassing for any administration that, oh, the problem that we inherited is bad, is this. You knew before you contested. You knew. It's just the same way. I don't know with politicians. You see some of them, even when they contest their elections in the court and tribunal, you tend to ask yourself, did they know the rule before doing the contesting? Didn't they know the rule? They do. They know the rules. But they won't go ahead and do these things and begin to mourn.
Right, Daniel. Because of time, we still have. Then come the. I don't take it to be petty issues. They are serious matters. When you ask and say, is it the election you are talking about? Is it economy? Is it whatever? An average Nigerian will say to you, "Oh, the economy is bad. Oh, we can." It's, in fact, it used to be 001, 100, whatever. It's almost like 00 half 1 now. So people are really complaining. What do you want to say to the president of Nigeria? How does he need to go about bringing in shape the economy? Because the economy, like you rightly said, it's all about the economy. All these distractions, all these people complaining, we want this, we want that, and all that kind of thing. When there's a stability, when the economy, has a level ground where people say, well, look, at the end of the day, we can have 3 triangle meal, not square, and since I've been, some
That's
other
true.
things.
I think that needs to change. It should be 3 triangle meal.
It's
Yes.
and other things can
Or 2
follow.
triangular meal.
Yes, and then we can talk about some other projects. Now, with the economy, people are still getting angry about removal of subsidy, even though all the contest and the contestants then agree that any which way economy has to go, because it doesn't make sense at all. When I look back at the whole thing, here we have a big country that has access to a big pool of resources of oil, and but then again the management becomes a nightmare. A nightmare in the sense that we have to export our oil to whatever, I don't know where they say export it to get it refined and then import it back. In the process, you're losing a lot of not only time, you're losing a lot of money. And no wonder why in Saudi Arabia and some other oil producing countries where they do everything in-house, So they are able to even give it, beg people to come and take it for free. So we can't afford to do that. But then again, I hope, because 2 or 3 days ago, when I saw the delegation going to the plants, that are not working, that they are now saying any which way by December 2024, those refinery will be working. That's a good news. But there's still other area of economy. What do you want to, as economist, what do you want to, uh, what do you want to tell the president to do? I can assure you, anyhow, this message may take some time, but it's going to get to him. So, no, give us the best economic uh, advice.
Yeah. Well, at this point, uh, I will say that President Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu needs to have a grip. What Nigeria needs at this particular time are not Princeton, Yale, Columbia, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, university-trained economists. They are not. Because those who are trained in this citadel of academy that I mentioned are ingrained into the Western economic management, which is an aberration to Nigerian system. It is. We need economics who can understand the peculiarity of Nigeria, who are going to think outside of the box, who are not going to be following the principles of the so-called economics ideas of the West. They need to come home and begin to reason out Nigerian economic system. And they need to have a political, strong, not just political will, strong political will to do what is necessary. Economics is not about so much of certainty. You know why? The bedrock of economics is the study of human behavior. And there's a caveat there, that human behavior cannot be predicted. So why are you studying what you cannot necessarily put your hands on? That means economics is an attempt. That is why the framework of the Western economic style cannot necessarily work in our own climate. We need to understand the peculiarities of our own. Now, why is this not working? What is the human input and influence in it? Why is it that when there is unemployment in Nigeria, I don't understand why people will be owed 27 months salary and yet they are still living. They're still at that same place of work. That means they must be getting something out of it. It's either the corrupt practice or whatever. I don't know why people will even be owed 6 months and they're still at that job. That tells you there is a particular way we do our things that needs better understanding. The other time I saw a former governor of Cross River, he said if somebody I revered before when I saw a couple of his interviews.
Oh, the guy that says it's romantic, he's feeling romantic when he pays salaries.
Oh, Professor, what is his name now?
Is Ayade?
Yes, the immediate past governor. It's very appalling that a governor who has that kind of plethora of academic excellence certificate, who come on here and said one of his achievements in government was paying people's salary, workers' salary. How can you call that achievement? It tells you how I don't know. I don't want to use bad adjectives in describing it.
Try not to, because on this program, this
it's irritating, it's nauseating that such person who said I pay salaries was his achievement. Does it mean that owing them is normalcy? It's incredible how people think. Now, coming to what you said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has he has aggregated good number of people who have excellent academic career records. Yes, but those records are not what we need. Even somebody who doesn't have half or tenth of what they paraded as their record, if he has common sense and understanding of how Nigerian economy should work, and I'm going to give few of them here, he will begin to transform that system. He will begin to transform that economy. Yes, and less focus should be on financial economy. That has been the strength that is driving Nigeria economy, and it's not going to take us anywhere. It's not. Now, let's come to the issue of that our state. How can we revive it? One, maybe when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, did announce on May 29th at his inauguration that the subsidy is gone. Yeah? I will say temporarily, I welcome the development, hoping that I will understand what plans were in place, because such decision has consequences. What are in place to tackle, battle, and resolve the consequence of that action? Unfortunately, it became a mess. That position has not shown that there was a prepared attention given to the consequences that will arise from it. Rather, we're just having statements or manners of statements regarding what we are thinking, what we were going to do, not what we will do, not we are going to do, which became a negotiation with labor group and all that. That means there had not been an articulate program for that action. Then I now had to think deeper that what exactly constitutes subsidy? Why removing subsidy? I realized that subsidy in itself was not the problem. It was the management of the subsidy that was the problem. That means we left the substance, we were chasing the shadow. We are attacking subsidy rather than attending to the management of it. It was its management, those who are involved in its management, that brought us to our knees. So rather than reconstituting, readdressing the matter of how that subsidy was being managed, if need be, bring those who are corrupt and have mismanaged it to book. That was not done. We wanted to throw the baby and the bathwater away. That was the decision of the removal of the subsidy. It's a total thrown away of the baby and the bathwater. That then did not address the problem. And that's why in recent time too, it came about that in the news that this same cost subsidy had been reintroduced by the back door. Because when people begin to do cost analysis, that if you import petroleum product at so price, and you are saying the pumping price should be at this price, which is lesser than the cost of importing and delivery to the stations, then who pay the difference? What then is the meaning of subsidy in that sector? If the government is taking on board the difference, making the payment for the difference, that has no other name unless for semantics or nomenclature to say that it is no longer subsidy. QED, that is subsidy. Yes, that means we're only playing to the gallery the whole idea of the subsidy thing. And that's why I say it's because we lost our focus on the ball. Do not address what the problem is, the elephant in the house. We went ahead throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And then it's going to continuously be a recurring, because those to whom you should have addressed, because once you start paying that subsidy again by the back door, that means because you did not manage you did not address the management of it, it is the same player that will still continue to take it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So that there, I scored him low. And I hope this program will get to him and they will have a true rethink of what is going on. Then I now said, I don't see, let me give you an instance. If Nigeria is producing massive food, because somehow people think there should be a drive towards exports, we will get to export. The whole essence of us trying to export food or export anything is to have foreign exchange. That is the truth. The only thing that export give us is foreign exchange, so that we can have foreign exchange to buy whatever we want to buy, which we cannot produce, particularly machinery and any other thing from abroad, to boost our own economy. That's the whole idea of export. Whether we're exporting crude oils or we're exporting farm produce, or we're exporting clothing, or we're exporting solid minerals or whatever, it's just to have foreign exchange, to have it in reserve, and then we'll be able to pay for whatever we want to. But let me give you a different perspective to economics, because that is what the West have told us. That is how the West has governed us. Yeah. If Nigeria is producing food and we refuse to export any of our food material, why not we consider how to feed our people first? It is out of our excesses that we can export. Why should the price of garri be going up in Nigeria and people are interested and intensifying in exporting cassava? That's the truth. So we want ourselves to die in out of hunger only because we are chasing dollar. And let me tell you, while the government itself is trying to secure that dollar, now, and that's why I said economics is a study of mankind, their particular, study of their behavior. Most of the people that are exporting, I live in London. If I'm to export anything from Nigeria today, let's say food materials, or more, garri, rice, what is it called, elubo, and all that, or palm oil, and palm oil, pardon me, to UK. Whatever I recovered out of it in foreign exchange, I'm not repatriating it to Nigeria. I keep it in the bank in UK.
That's right.
You see, ordinarily Nigeria will have had a sense of it if that money returned back to Nigeria and it's in government coffers. Whereas that means I repatriated that money, either sell it to my bank or to CBN, who keeps that foreign exchange and pay me back in Naira. After all, I'm exporting from Nigeria. I needed Naira. But most days, because that's human behavior, people who are abroad are stacking that money, the foreign exchange the government is looking for, is stacking up abroad. And another thing is this so-called foreign exchange that we are chasing all about. If we look deeply at the incidents when the war in Ukraine started, Russia, when it said it's going to stop gas pumping to Europe, one of the things Russia put forward is EU and UK, countries that are buying its gas, should open an account in Russia, pay the money for the gas in Russia before they send the gas. Prior to that time, it is Russia who opens account in Germany.
Yes, to get dollars.
To get dollars, euro, and pound sterling. Then they will pump the gas to Europe. The money will be secured in Dutch bank for Russia to spend. Do you know what that means? That your buyer is the custodian of your money. And that's why when they impose sanction, they can, because Russia's money is in their hand, they can easily say, we freeze this. That is what we too are doing. That's why we're so vulnerable. Whatever, we send everything to abroad, to United States, to UK and all that. All we do is open an account with them, foreign reserve. These people are in control, they are in charge of our own money. Do you get it? A buyer is taking your goods and is holding your money and he's saying, trust me, I'm a better banker. You are giving him your supplies and he's still withholding your money. He will only write you that, okay, you know what, you have 50 trillion with me. Why is your
I will,
50 trillion not in your own pocket?
so he will
If,
determine where
if
you
you
can
look at
use
the experience of Iran, when they were negotiating to have this lady that went to teach in Iran with UK, to have her freed, that the Iranian government arrested her. You know what the Iranian brought to the table? Since the time of Shah in Iran, there was an amount of money, I think running to about 400 million pounds, that the UK government, legitimate money of Iraq, that UK government withheld. That was what they negotiated to have that lady released. So how do we put our money in the hands of these people?
it.
Or only for a top-up story, they could say your government is corrupt, this and that. We are freezing that money. You can't have access to it. Afghanistan money is in United States, and they're withholding it.
Mm.
And that's the economy we are progressing.
All
There's
right.
nothing. If they need our commodity, they need our resources, they will pay it for us here
We
with
should be in
ourselves.
control. We should be in
Yeah,
control.
you
We should
don't
be in
take our
control.
resources and you hold our money.
It's not done.
You just ingrained in us that money is secured there for what you needed to use it for, whatever. No, that's not right.
All right, Daniel. Again, like I said, I know I've taken you to an area, your most expertise area, and we might need all the time. But then, because of time, my own time on this show, I need to move to some.
Of course,
Just
there are a lot of prescriptions I would like to give, but I know the time is against us
we
here.
can we can do that on another day, no problem at all. It's just on a lighter mood, nothing serious. Nobody should misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm surprised that the patriotism, the nationalism spirit is like is gone when I had to fight a battle or where I have to have a misunderstanding with friends or family, and that we are not able to resolve our differences in such an amicable manner, and then we can move on or move forward. So, just one word. What do you think when Alagba Atiku is still articulating his strong,
That's a very good coin of the word.
yes, articulating
And indeed, is articulating is
his strong resolve to continue to fight? Uh,
uh,
just like I said, what do you think? What does he get for that? And unfortunately, I I have said it many times. Obi will have been a fantastic candidate. All of them are very good, but then
yes,
unfortunately, it's all boiled down to who gets the largest majority of votes.
yes,
And
yes.
but as I say, I don't want to dwell too much on that. But what do you think Atiku is trying to articulate by saying after the final curtain had been drawn,
Good.
the
It's still not.
election was
It's still not.
completed, was concluded, but now completed. So the three C's are there.
Yes.
What will anybody want to? But anyway, it's an option. Like I said, it's not a major. I want to go to some other area. Now, there's also this problem which is affecting my spirit. It's affecting me. It's making my heart to pound, unnecessarily. That is the issue of uh, the 300 and something legislators
Oh,
relish, rejoicing on. I think we have a caller, and uh, let me see whether they want to contribute. Hello, who is calling? Where are you calling from? Okay, I'm on live show. Can I call you back then, please? So, for me, it's another area that is very, very worrying. It's worrying in the sense that I cannot understand why a rep of sometimes 30 something thousand citizens of the same country that is representing are wallowing, are struggling to not even end, to even have anything to call their own, or to even have anything enough. We started by saying triangle meal. They don't even have one leg meal. And somebody is happy uh, collecting a vehicle, that could drop, that can develop the complications that of 160 million,
Abi?
160 million, and is very happy, and but unable to morally justify what it is. At this junction, I want to ask people who are viewing us, if you want to call, you can do so. You can contribute. We still have a couple of minutes to play with. You can do so on +44 7368 456. I mean, sorry, 465054. Let me repeat. +44 7368 465 054 to join. And also, you can also contribute if you want to, if you have any comment. But if you don't have it, continue to enjoy the show. Right. What do you say to these? I also don't want to use any very strong language on my show, but I can tell you that I don't know. In fact, I'm not too sure whether their wives are happy, their family are happy with their behavior of collecting so much in the middle of millions of people struggling to survive. What do you say to them?
I think it's insult upon injury on the sensibilities of Nigerians. That at this auspicious time is when the Senate will come up, or the National Assembly, as it were, because the buying of vehicle involves all of them. Will come up with that idea of spending ridiculous amount of money to afford themselves ultra luxury. I listened to the defense put forward by the senator representing Central Kogi District. And as if the suggestion or the idea of buying that vehicle is not enough, that senator make a bad job of defending it. It was a ridiculous way. Maybe I just feel most of them too felt this is undefendable situation, and they find the least of them who is articulate to understand that that's a position that cannot be defended. And then they toast him forward because they know that probably he doesn't know his left from right. And he came on national TV to run down some maggot statement about importance of how if he tried other vehicle, they could break down if he tried visit his constituency 3 times. In the same vein, he's making it known to his host that he owns vehicle that are better than the one they want to buy for him. And they put the question to him, how patriotic are you? If you own a vehicle that is already better than what you want to spend 160 million on and can perform the same job, in the name of patriotism and the circumstance in which Nigeria economy is, why can't he use that? Why can't he use that? Then the second point is, even the person who was interviewing him put the questions to him that the average price of that vehicle, as of that time, I don't know today, I'm not following the market on the price of the vehicle, should not be more than 90 million. Then how come you want to pay 160 million? for it. That is, it is padded somewhere. And he doesn't want to talk about that. Not that he doesn't want to. He even put a defense to those who are advancing the 160 million. I don't know where I will want to buy a vehicle for myself. And somebody is giving me an inkling that I'm being cheated here. And I'm the one that is saying, oh, you know what? It is that person that wants to sell it for most expensive that will be putting an argument in support for him. You know what he said? He said, because these people don't get their money paid on time. Sometimes some of them that were bought in 2007 are still not recovered fully their money. So we should take those people. I mean, it is those people that, so because of the slow payment, that's why their price is higher. And so that's why we are going to take them. We're going to spend more. I don't know where that could happen. That you'll be defending somebody who wants to rip you off. Whoever that is selling the vehicle knows the time of payment. If you are going to find somebody who will sell it for 90 million and you put forward your terms of payment, if it's agreeable, why not buy from that person? From the same person who is going to bring 160, if you bring your terms of payment and he's agreeing, and the same person, another person for 90 will agree, why will you choose 160?
Well,
That's, I mean, he's turned upside down. I don't know how he's seated there and was trying to, it's appalling. And that's why I said it's annoyance to the sensibilities of Nigeria. It's
again,
terrible.
from experience, most of these legislators, in fact, their names have been changed to legislators. You know, which I cannot defend them to say they are not looters. It's very sad that you said it. They don't have feelings for their constitution, and
They don't have the interest of the public at heart.
And they are getting away with that because they are doing
And
it.
repeatedly, pardon me, sir, repeatedly he was talking, ministers too, this and that. The something is, if they know that we are going to make sacrifice, let them decide first that we are going to make sacrifice not to have this thing. This is burgeoning. This is not acceptable. It is again within their powers. If they have complained against the ministers and the executive, because the executive is going to bring his own appropriation to them, cut it out, just as you have done to yourself. And so, you know what, we're not going to put money on all these 160 million vehicles that we did not take. We're not going to let the ministers have it. Yes, it's within their powers. You don't need to come and tell us that because somebody is doing wrong, I have to do wrong too. Yes.
It's very silly. A quick
You
one.
get what I'm saying?
Yes,
Sure. That's why I said everything is said is indefensible. He could have, because he was complaining, the people don't talk about the ministers who even have more than one of such vehicles, that they are this blah blah blah. Yeah, if they bring the appropriation for them to have you cut it out. No, that cannot happen.
Okay. Can you blame the president for all these ordeal? I mean, I think it's ordeal on the people because
I can't blame you. If it is about blame, I can't, because what we operate now, they said, is separation of powers.
That's right. Okay.
You can't blame for the presidency for actions or inactions or trouble caused by the legislature. No. However, a salient point there too is, pardon.
Go on, sorry, you'll have some water to drink.
Yeah. So the salient point there is the legislatures are behaving, clothing themselves in ignominy. That's the best way I can describe it. They're clothing themselves.
The legislators.
Yes, in ignominy. They're not showing concerns for the situations of an average Nigerian. They're not. And that shouldn't be happening at this auspicious time. I mean, auspicious time that Nigeria is going through this economic crunch. It shouldn't.
It's very sad.
It shouldn't. Yeah, it's very sad. And like I said, that man made a bad job of their representation. It's an awkward, a bad, and terrible job of
Well,
that defense.
okay, thank you very much for that. Like I said, chap, we are going to some other. The problem that I also see on the internet is Biafra loading. Biafra loading. I mean, what's going on? Will you will you will you say to our listeners that what Biafra the I know they are in three splinters. One of the authentic, the most authentic one that is and want to go by engagement, that want to engage the government, want to talk things over, want to say please, 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 if you don't like us, let us go, but do not want to use the war. The Biafra loading, sorry, the Biafra loading is one of the splinters that is now had already instituted a government Biafra, and on the ground, the map of Biafra, the last I checked, is still within the is still congruent to Nigeria landscape. What do you want to say to these people trying to go 1966 way again?
I think they need to have a deep reflection on what has transpired between Nigeria and the attempt to have a nation Biafra in the past, in the 60s, running up to the 70s.
Mm.
The subsequent no 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 victory, no vanquish aftermath of the what is it called?
After the
Internal,
Aburi Accord,
internal wars, the civil war that we had. Unfortunately, the feelers I have is not many who witnessed that war are available now to caution the present generation who are drumming the war, who are drumming up war
drum
song.
of prayer.
Yes, again, I can understand if we look at it critically, every Nigeria somehow has been divided into zones, let's say for political reasons. I don't know of any of those zones that don't complain. I don't know. If for every tenure of any new government, there will always be complaint. When Obasanjo was there were complaints that his appointment was loose-sided or whatever. Jonathan got there were complaints by the Yorubas, some Fulani, that it was dominated by the Eastern people. When Buhari was there were complaints that it was Fulanized. There is the Fulani ethnic origin only that dominated that. So complaints should not, and I believe the complaint is usually about just having more generosity to you and all that. So the complaint is not something that, to me, holds substance. It's just a political bargaining chips. When you see a particular region, either Yoruba or the North, all of the North and South is actually divided into three zones now. So you have the South, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, Northeast, North Central, Northeast. So it's still North-South thing. So it's just rotating around the three zones in each of the regions. Now, and that's why I said, when one is complaining now, because Nigeria is a continuum, Nigeria is a corporate entity that will continue to exist. So if an administration comes now for 4 or 8 years, if the complaint fatal within that administration, Nigeria is not going to end. There's going to be, to usher in and given the fact that for some reason we have adopted that rotation now, that it will go to the north, it will come to the south. So when you see somebody agitating or complaining and issues in the south, it's because they felt, oh, now is the tenure of the north. and they are only making that noise so that they can have good bargaining leverage. That, oh, you have not given us enough, oh, blah, 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 so that they can look at their side. So that should not snowball into somebody chanting war songs. Do you get it? As if Nigeria is just going to precipice. But like I said, their leaders, those who are available and knows, and even those ones who are chanting war songs now, they should look at what is happening in Palestine. War is not a tea party. When it starts, you can never tell its end. And you cannot estimate from beginning the casualties that will be involved. So I want to use that as a cautionary for those who are drumming these songs of war. They probably underestimated what could happen. Unless for political reason they think it's still part of the strategy for bargaining chips. Now, that be as it may. Let's now look at the possibility of an existence of Biafra, nation of Biafra. I want to be frank to my Igbo brothers, and let us call a spade a spade. I will tell you ordinarily, from economic perspective, that the nation of Biafra will bound to fail economically. I'm being honest here. If anybody thinks it's going to survive, I will list them now. Igbos are known to be commercial, industrious, and all manners of businesses, that they are majorly acute, well endowed, and accustomed to the business environment. Granted, but let's look at the gamut of the businesses that they trade in. Is import influence, is import driven. No nation, in fact, the influence of business in Nigeria is part of what culminates in our problem, economic problem. They are interested in importing nearly anything and make Nigeria do nothing. Yes, that is their interest. No nation will survive that way. No nation. So if you create a state of Biafra and that's what they still want to pursue, they will see it bankroll into bankruptcy. Yes, the volume of their production cannot meet what they want to import. It cannot. It's a nation ab initio meant to crash. That's one. Two, even if they are producing, if they exit out of Nigeria, they are landlocked. They don't have fertile access to the sea. The cheapest way of exporting whatever you produce is not by flight, aircraft. You run your economy aground.
But they could go Dubai. They could go Dubai. Dubai is worse, or is.
Dubai is not worse. Dubai has access to water.
Yeah,
the Mediterranean.
These are man-made water. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, I'm being realistic here.
Segun,
they dredged it.
Yeah, exactly. They could do the same. They could do the same. They could do the same.
Dredge what? Dredge River Niger to where?
No, they could. How? Where did?
They can't dredge it up to our own ocean. They can't dredge it to South Ocean.
But
you can dredge it.
How did Dubai go to his own blue seas and everything? All the water needed.
Just steady dredging, because Dubai doesn't need any. There is no restriction between Dubai and the Mediterranean Sea. In which case, there is no country that blocks Dubai. It is only the land that they need, the waterways that they need to dredge. So in this, what I'm saying is, in the case of Biafra, they will need access from either south-south or southwest to get to that dredging. There is a difference. That's the detail. Dubai doesn't have a conundrum of a nation to negotiate with, that this water I want to open up to get to the main body of water. Do you get me? Let us have an agreement
So
that
there
I would
wasn't
drag,
any kind of
drag
restrictions.
through your own country to
No,
get
no any
access
kind of
there.
restriction. No restrictions.
But in this case, they will have to negotiate either with south to south, going to rivers, that's River State, to access the main water, or to Calabar, which is in south, not a part of their country. Or they now want to access to Ondo or Lagos if they are coming to southwest.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure,
So
sure, sure.
it's not workable unless, well, I'm not saying agreement cannot be reached, but that is if you exit in good time. If you exit violently, like they wanted to pursue, that's going to bring another issues into that negotiation, because those countries by themselves be looking at you with suspicion. If we allow you unfettered access to our own waters, you get it. What if you militarize it? So there
All
will
right.
be a curtail and restrictions. So that's why I'm saying that in itself is not going to help them. So if two of a thing could happen, let's say if they provoke the presidency enough and they want to use sledgehammer, it could crush them using the national security operative apparatus. He could crush it, or he could decide and said, okay, given to the look that, as I have mentioned, that the real contribution of the southeast, in terms of trading and all that, is really, really inimical to Nigerian economy. One, two, what exactly will we get from this nation that is making a mass contribution to the economy? Absolutely near to limit number. Okay, I could let them go. He decided to pass a referendum on there, and the people voted overwhelmingly to not considering what I've just said. Their state, their nation is not one that is viable. I hope their leaders will tell them critical truth. And they have a state of Biafra, run for 5 years, and they discover that this is not there. There have been nations like that. I told South Sudan. Is that what the people bargained for in independence? That they won after independence. It plunged the nation into war. The euphoria of independence vanished.
Something similar to South Sudan?
Yes. Yes. So they could, if they want to have such experience, let them have it. Let them have it. Then they would know the number of negotiations they need to do to have a stable country. Yes. Okay. Maybe they want to tow the way of the governor of Imo State that claim he will send people to EU. You want to export them as maybe that's a new slavery route now. You want to export them to EU to go and do internet study or whatever and secure job for them there before they can come. I mean, by that time, maybe they will know that Exodus is the way out, that Biafra is not performing. Biafra cannot work. Yes, because for some reason, Nigeria has been a witness of one too. There is an euphoria for us. In fact, they said at that time of independence, did not said we are not ready. There is euphoria for us to have it. What has independence gotten us 63 years?
Nothing. All right.
Yes.
Towards the end, yeah, sorry.
At the time, I was contemplating that another option for Nigeria is to return to England, to UK, negotiated that, you know what, come and manage our affairs for us. Let us have a tutorial on how to really manage ourselves. That independence we requested for was just too premature.
All right. Thank you. Now, as usual, towards the end of my show, every time I've said to myself, as one of the Yoruba Nation campaigner, I will always round up. It's going to be the last bit of any show, any conference I go. if Sunak were to invite me to dinner after enjoying,
You will
uh,
still talk Yoruba nation.
I will still want to say, I will still start by saying, I will still start by saying, Alagba Richard Sunak, Shomonkon, and I'm sure I will Shomonkon, what are you saying? Into Vebe Sokongon, you know. And Sokongon is about Yoruba. And let's talk about Yoruba. The Yoruba business. The Yoruba business of uh, we, the campaigners. Uh, hold on, I have another caller. I'm on a live show. You call me back, please, or I call you back.
It might be a caller that wants to contribute.
No, no, it's a private. I've seen private on the name.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
private call. Now, I would say to Sunak, say, Shomon Kokon, I say, what are you talking about? I say, Ipa Yoruba. Yoruba Jemilogun, I genuinely uh, want us to have a Yoruba nation, because I have no doubt in my mind that we have all the requisite, the necessary uh, things that could make us be a great country. And I'm not blushing, and I'm not trying to gloat that other country might not have the same requirement, the same whatever it takes. So, but then again, like I always say, what are your quick advice? I know campaign is going all over the world. People are campaigning. I've also managed to at least educate some people to stop saying the agitator. They are not, nobody's agitator. If you want to get yourself into trouble,
Yes.
if you don't want to learn, keep saying, write it in front of your forehead and say, I'm a Yoruba agitator.
Agitator.
And then you see what is going to happen. Uh, so I'm one of the campaigners, and
Yeah,
I still want to believe that it is doable. We can, we can do it. We can get it, provided we follow the, you know, guided structure. We and that brings me to this question for today. Before we go, there's a large number of people I can see that are saying, why we are waiting to get the big ball, I mean to get the big ball, you know, uh, of Yoruba nation. What's wrong with what do you think is wrong with structure, restructuring? What do you want to tell my viewers in the next, I think, 3 or 4 minutes left? Restructuring. What does restructuring say to you as we are presently constituted?
oh, thank you for the question, sir. Um, I want to say I'm a Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba by descent. I was born Yoruba. So I found the idea of a Yoruba nation very noble. I don't have any disdain or any reservation about it. However, it must be put in context. The first context of it is what motivates the request, the campaign, the reason, the need to establish a Yoruba nation. I grew up in this, I was born 60s, then grew up through 70s. There had been a time I didn't come out of a wealthy family, but we were comfortable. And I knew Nigeria then in the 70s. Most of the things I had today were never things that will happen in the 70s. I mean, I do not see how people talk about a particular ethnic group in a derogatory way or showing hatred towards a particular ethnic group as we have today. And reason to my best knowledge is because there was a meaningful life, particularly after the uh, Civil War, in the progression of Gowon's tenure, when Nigeria discovered oil and there was so much money to throw about and all that. Everything seems to be working fine. Nobody remembers, even if they are not feeding well, that it is caused by a Fulani or an Ibibio person or by a Yoruba or by an Igbo brother. Nobody. What they do is to strive to do better with their life, knowing that once they equip themselves with the necessary skills and what have you, they will have a meaningful life, whether technically, academically or otherwise, but people who just learn trade. People are living a more meaningful and more purposeful, hopeful life. Because all of a sudden, when the trend turned around, corruption hit us deep in the system, we lost our values, our cultures, our senses of direction, then we become suspicious of each other. We became people who feel the only thing that makes me poor is because my Fulani brother is dominating. So the only reason why I feel insecure is because my Igbo brothers are the armed robbers. The only reason why I feel poor is because my Yoruba people are the Yahoo Yahoo or whatever. The reason why I feel poor is because my South brothers, the BBOs, I mean, uh, Degema or whatever group is there, are the ones that are the bane of my problem because they are the one that is rigging the whole system, and blowing up pipelines and all that. So that to me is centered around what the economic doldrum. When people no longer have access to good living, then they become suspicious of each other. And I want to say, even in the present campaign for Yoruba Nation, why don't you think that what causes the problem, if it's fixed, we could all live together? Yeah, that means if Nigerian economy is fixed, good living, good tidings comes upon the people, there's every likelihood that this suspicion will minimize. We might need to give that a shot. So if we are bent on voyage of discovery, we too want to have a nation that we cannot exactly tell what we will find there. We have seen some characters who are involved in this campaign as well. And I questioned what exactly will be their position or their account in the new nation called Yoruba Nation. And they are holding strong some position, And it makes me worry that are we deceiving ourselves, blindfolded ourselves into some kind of a quagmire? You get it? With all due respect, there's always a belief, and because maybe my affiliation has been a Yoruba, there's always a belief that we have a prosperous, vibrant, well-oiled economic system in that nation that we want to build for ourselves. But I'll tell you that that's a ruse. That's best a dream. Yoruba nation had been part and parcel of Nigeria. Corruption that have eaten up Nigeria did not make an exception to the people, personalities, and offices holders that are Yorubas in this current Nigeria. We are all corrupt. Ibibios, thieves, Fulani, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, name them, Bene, or whatever group, Ijo, and all that. We are all deeply inside it. To play a state.
But that could change. But that could change if we are to have our own nation tomorrow.
It cannot change.
Don't you think so? Why not?
Well, it can change, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Well, then
yes,
I'm still believing that.
That's not to discredit the fact that the idea is noble. That's not to discredit it. I'm going to come to where we can work our way to it. What I will prescribe is, currently as we are constituted as Nigeria, and you did talk about restructuring, if the presidency, the National Assembly could muster the courage to actually critically, without any bias, look at how to restructure Nigeria politically, having flexed all the regions. Yes. If they can muster the honesty in doing it, it could revamp Nigeria. Yes, they could. Then we could all see that the regions, and that's my campaign for the Yoruba Nation, that as we are already, we are delineated. The Biafra, like I said earlier, already delineated the states that constitute Biafra. 5 states of Nigeria, the Igbo ethnic extraction. They already know, the same way the Yoruba knows the 6 states, unless we are going to aggregate Kogi and Kwara state to us as well. That is negotiable. You get it? So we already know the existing state. Why not begin to let us see if it is workable? Nothing is stopping. No Hausa man are being a governor. The highest position you can have in all the states I've mentioned in administering it are the governors. So if you have 6 governors who are governed by Yoruba men and women, yeah, who are there, what makes them, if that there is going to be a success, why not come together and said, yes, you know what? We are not saying we are not in Nigeria right now, but we want to make, just like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, we want to make this region first among equals. We want to make this region to be one we can say can be self-sustaining. We want to make this region work as a signature to the rest of the nation. We can't say what we cannot achieve now just for the euphoria of having independence will just happen to us by miracle. That is the pursuit to which we are doing. As if by independence, alas, all things just turn anew. No, it doesn't happen. Let us show it now that we have the acumen, we have the resources, we have the conviction to deliver such.
The capacity and the ability.
Yes, to deliver such. When we begin to articulate that and we put action to it, and we begin to see results, then people will be convinced that the promised land that we are talking about, we can get there, and the success we are envisaged is indeed realistic. Yes, that is what I want us to pursue. Then coming to the issue of the nationhood itself for the agitators, who probably do not even consider what I've said now, that let us practice what we want to preach, that we will get a nation that is prosperous. We are doing it now. Let's say it's just about campaigning and getting there. The way the campaign has gone so far cannot achieve Yoruba nation. Yoruba nation or any nation at all, like the Biafran, I will have said the same to my brothers. It's a political issue which must be negotiated with Nigeria as a nation, because it's a nation that wants to come out of an existing nation. It's not for us to start junketing and asking UK government, American government, EU, United Nations. They cannot, none of them can create Yoruba nation. And I've seen lots that are tasking people, let us contribute, we want to go to United Nations, contribute, we want to go to EU, contribute. These are voyage of discovery for nonsense, irrelevance. The most you have is a talk shop. Somebody in Brussels will say, yeah, we have a meeting today with Yoruba campaigners who are seeking to have. It's not going to create, it's just like what I said about Israeli Hamas. Condemnation is not going to stop Israel. We've had enough of the condemnation. They will do what they want to do. The passage of time will go over it. Another conflict will come. In no time, the world will take its eyes off this. After Israel has killed nearly 1 million of Palestinians, there's going to be another issue in another part of the world. In another 6 months or 1 year, then we will reverse back to Israeli Palestinian conflict again, where many other people will still be killed.
Right. Okay.
So it's going to be a talk shop when we go around asking the United Kingdom, we want to go to United Kingdom court. We want to go to, it's nonsense. If we're really determined to do that, and I suspect we should not for now, that we should put in place what I have just earlier enunciated. That let us see, we already know the state. Let us see how vibrant it can work. So, but put that aside, that we want to go on the agitation. The strategy itself for now, like I said, is wrong. We need to negotiate, and that negotiation must come on the table of politics. And we do not, we so-called campaigners do not have any representative for now on that table.
So I think on that note, I need to say thank you very much. Time is gone. I my producer is telling me you need to go now.
Okay.
I think I had the last word. I want to appreciate people that watching, and for those, uh, I'm always aware that every day there are many there are many channels, there are many TV, there are many shows that So I'm not really worried. You can always watch. Just click the same button sent out to invite. You can watch the full length of the show. Segun Daniel, I want to thank you very much for coming again. I appreciate you, and see you some other time. To everybody
Okay, sir.
watching, I want to thank my very good friend from America. She acknowledged, nice to watch the show. And for those who did not have time to write, but they are watching through some other outlets, I want to appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. And that's it for now. Bye bye.
Thank you, viewers. We really appreciate your time. Goodbye.
Thank you.